prophecies and conspiracies. Peering into darkness is what we do. Derek and Sharon Gilbert break it all down for you.
The OGs of podcasting are back. Thank you, AI Elvis. I'm Derek Gilbert.
I am Sharon Gilbert. Welcome to our home, everybody. If you are brand new to PID Radio, it stands for Peering into Darkness. Now, that means we look at the spiritual activity behind those headlines.
As Sharon has dubbed it, theopolitics, not just geopolitics.
That's right. And we've got, strange, high weirdness in the news now because of the UFO dump.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Iran and what's going on there and more. But first, download our app.
Yes, please.
Get our free app. You can find it at pidradio.com/app or gilberthouse.org, which is our main web hub, gilberthouse.org/app. It's available for iOS, Android, Amazon, Kindle, Fire devices, and all of the smart TVs and set-top boxes. Go to the App Store for your device, get that app, and join the growing number. I don't know how many. I don't know how many people have.
We don't generally track the metrics.
We don't obsess over analytics.
But here's the other thing. We also don't take your data.
That's true. That is true. So we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to give us your ears. As
Lend
Brack
us
would
your
say,
ears.
Open your head holes, Slappy. We're fixing to testify.
Brack, we need to watch that series again.
Yeah, that's a reference to an old, it was Cartoon Network Adult Swim comic.
Yeah, it's based on Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Oh, gosh.
And Brack, who was one of the sort of co-hosts along with the Mantis character.
Yeah, Zorak.
Zorak, exactly. It is really funny.
Yeah.
Very clever, very clever.
And of course, Space Ghost Coast to Coast was developed in the 90s, if I remember, early 2000s, but it was based on a 60s cartoon called Space Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, lasted for like 1 or 2 seasons.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
So funny. But anyway, yes, the UFO file dump, we'll just lead with that since I teased it.
A lot. Yeah, it really went viral this week for a couple of reasons. First of all, the FBI files, it's actually been released through the Department of War website, war.gov/UFO.
Yeah.
If you want to go there, war.gov/UFO.
And why isn't it war.mil?
I don't know.
Unless they've got a separate .gov account just for documents and things.
Could be. But this is similar to what the FBI did a few years ago with some of its files related to trafficking. And those were put out there so that people could review them. And it's the same here. And as there are reporters for newspapers and news operations across the world that are now combing through these and posting very interesting headlines. FBI files reignite the debate over secret theories about secret Nazi UFO programs.
Well, you and I actually talked about that years ago on PID Radio. I think we were still in St. Louis at the time. Mm-hmm. Because we had made friends with an amazing researcher and writer, Sue Bradley. And Sue introduced me to the idea. She'd read a book, and the name of the guy who wrote the book on the Nazi bell was...
Joseph Farrell.
That's right. We've got that book somewhere. I read it a long time ago.
We do, yes.
If you are not familiar with the idea of the Nazi bell, it was a real thing, but the theory is conjecture. The Nazi bell was an actual project, but it's not concrete. There's no concrete evidence as to what exactly the Nazi bell was. I think Farrell postulates that it was a time-traveling device of some kind, and it ended up in Roswell.
Yes, in fact, and I will release this as a Way Back Wednesday.
Oh, good idea.
Because we've got, going back to 2005, that's what I said, we are the OGs of podcasting.
We are.
This podcast is, to the best of our knowledge, the longest-running continuously produced podcast on the internet. And back in July of 2010, I interviewed Dr. Joseph Farrell about his book called Roswell and the Reich. Mm-hmm. He's also the author of Reich of the Black Sun, the SS Brotherhood of the Bell. That's the book that we've got.
That's the one,
Yeah.
yes.
NASA's Nazis, JFK and Magic 12, Nazi International.
I haven't read the one on JFK and Magic 12.
And I interviewed him later about that on JFK and Lyndon Johnson. Mm-hmm. His theory is that it was LBJ who was kind of behind the plot.
Oh, that's an
Or
old
connected
theory.
to the plot.
That's an old theory. That theory was put forward in 1963.
But going back to his the interview I did in July of 2010, it was on his book Roswell and the Reich, and he makes the case, which our friend Guy Malone agrees with, that the crash of the craft in 1947, in July of 1947, over July 4th weekend, it was a craft of Nazi origin. And so that very interesting interview. So anyway, based on, we've been drawing out of our archives going back to 2005. Mm-hmm. My podcast, A View from the Bunker, goes back to 2009. So this one was early on in the View from the Bunker archives. I will pull that out for a Way Back Wednesday replay. We'll re-release that here in coming weeks. But I also interviewed him about the LBJ JFK connection. I need to get him back on because he's got some very interesting theories.
Well,
and it's been 15 years since I've talked to him.
Bell or Malone?
Joseph Farrell. Oh, and by the way, with Guy Malone, I need to point this out because
I was just
on July 2nd of this year, in connection. So this is coming up in just a couple of months, and I'm going to have Joe Jordan and Guy Malone. I need to get them on, and we've been talking about this behind the scenes. They're going to have a Christian symposium on the UFO phenomenon on July 2nd in Roswell, New Mexico. And this will be streamed live. We're figuring out the way to do it right now. It will probably go to YouTube, almost certainly go to YouTube, but it'll probably go to X as well and Facebook if we can do it. And I think there's a way we can do all three.
Trying to get out of this one post, sorry.
It'll be in conjunction with Bruce Collins of The Bruce Collins Show. Mm-hmm. I guess haven't talked to him in a long time. So he's been podcasting a very long time as well. Mm-hmm. So Joe and Guy and Jackie Alnor will be in Roswell as well. And so we will be soliciting your questions, the PID radio audience, the View from the Bunker audience, to pose to the panelists. Guy Malone, our missionary to Roswell, Joe Jordan of CE4 Research Group, Crouch Encounters of the Fourth Kind, CE4 Research Group, how to deal with the abduction phenomenon from a Christian perspective.
Have you seen this cover from Jeffrey Martis?
Ooh, I did not.
Alien, because you can't say alien without a lie.
Yeah, L-I-E in the middle. That's wonderful.
Yeah, Jeffrey Martis is a writer, but he's also an amazing graphic artist. He is essentially the artist, the go-to for Defender.
Right.
So if you like the Defender books that, Skywatch TV puts out, mm-hmm. That's who does the art. And also Jeffrey does all the covers for our novels.
For the Red Wing Saga,
yeah.
And he's done my two novels as well,
Mm-hmm.
and everything has just been absolutely spectacular.
He is so, so good.
So,
but yeah, Guy Malone, you need to go. You really need to go. If you can be there in person, great.
If you're going to be in Roswell, they will have an in-person event on July 2nd. It'll be between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Central Time, so Mountain Time will be 2 to 7. And they're doing it on July 2nd because they don't want to force people to choose between attending their event and then some of the other main events that'll take place on July 4th, which, of course, is the big day.
We were there, Derek and I were there, along with Josh Peck, in 2017
and
for the 70th
Dr. Michael
anniversary.
Heiser.
Yep, Heiser. Oh, that was such a gathering.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, wasn't
Natalina.
Natalina was there. Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh, she's gone to be with the Lord as well.
Joe Jordan was there.
Yes, he was. But who was the Brit that spoke there? And didn't he just recently pass? Pope.
Nick Pope.
Was he there?
Yes. Nick Redfern, the author of Final Events.
That's right. Didn't Nick Pope just recently die?
He did, yes.
Yeah. So that was a big one. I think that Guy may still have those videos.
I don't know if that event was videoed.
Oh, that's tragic.
Yeah, I don't think that one was. Mike gave a great presentation at that event. And, of course, that was the 70th anniversary of the Roswell crash on sci-fi as evangelism for the ET gospel. In fact, I cited that in the book Destination Earth, which was published in 2024 and has suddenly become a lot more relevant. In fact, I just reposted to my X account and also to Facebook the presentation I gave on the occult origins of the ancient aliens idea at a conference that I was at with L.A. Marzulli back in 2022 at Pastor Dave Bryan's church, the Glad Tidings Church out there in, the town with all the chickens. Yeah, yes.
Forgive us.
Redding, I think, California.
It's a small city that historically somehow chickens just were let loose, and I can't remember the exact story, but now there are chickens all over the place.
Yeah, these church
walking around.
The city expanded it, basically incorporated some unincorporated territory around the city, and this chicken farmer was there and said, well, now that you're part of the city, you're going to have to do things our way. And he said, nope, I'm not. He just let his chickens loose, and now there are chickens running around all over the town.
They would be very popular in August here in Crane because Crane, Missouri has a broiler fest every August.
Yeah, it was. Those chickens would be running for their lives.
They would be.
Yeah. The annual chicken run is a big deal here. Yuba City, that's the name of the town. Yuba City, California. Anyway, I've just reposted that. So if you're interested in that presentation, it's about 90 minutes on how the documented evidence showing the connections between the teachings of Aleister Crowley, Helena Blavatsky, filtered through the horror fiction of H.P. Lovecraft, and that became the grist or the evidence, essentially, that Eric von Daniken used to write his book, Chariots of the Gods.
Yeah. So, you're talking about Destination Earth?
Yeah, that's all in Destination Earth, but then the video presentation, which I just shared to Facebook and X here just yesterday.
Okay.
Because, again, this has become a big deal over the last week.
Well, it has, and I have to ask. I know that Trump said he wanted those files released. The question is, why now? Well,
that is a good question, and there are those who are saying, well, this is a distraction. Where are the Epstein prosecutions? That's also a distraction this week, by the way, because a judge just released what is purported to be the authentic note left behind by Mr. E.
Yes, but this was allegedly, we have to say, discovered inside a book by a man who shared the cell with Epstein. Allegedly, again, we're told he shared the cell briefly, and that Epstein had previously tried to end his life, and this was the note that was found after the attempt. Mm-hmm. He didn't succeed. It was an attempt that failed. But this is the alleged suicide note
Well, color us skeptical at this point, but
if you could see my face.
His story that came out again today that said, nope, it matches his handwriting. Yeah, okay, all right. So there's that. And there's that. But I think the other thing, too, and this is an interesting, I think going back to an analysis that we watched by a pundit who we've seen. We've mentioned his name now probably 2 or 3 shows now.
Jesus Enrique Rosas.
Yeah. He started out just doing, commentary on body language, because he reads body language. Mm-hmm. And then he started doing royal commentary, the British royal family. Now he's doing punditry, and he's really, really excellent. You can find his website at thepowerpundit.com, all one word, thepowerpundit.com.
He also has a Substack.
I think that website goes to his Substack account.
It is absolutely wonderful. The videos are, if you prefer to watch a video rather than read, he often will give you the majority of his article in the video.
Right. He did a video about a week ago, said, I finally figured out Trump. And I think he's right. Trump will, he understands the media. The media is looking for rage bait. Mm-hmm. So he'll say something crazy like, yeah, okay, we're going to invade Cuba or something. And so then the media will chew up a few news cycles by saying, okay, what happens if Trump invades Cuba? Oh, the Cuban people don't, and they'll just, cycle through all this. Meanwhile, he and Rubio and Vance and Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, and now the acting AG Todd Blanche, they're back in the White House doing stuff. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, they're actually doing things while the media is all, he's going to invade Cuba.
The media is chasing their own tails.
Right. And he gives them raw meat. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, got a bunch of rabid pit bulls in the front yard, so he throws raw meat out there, and they just spend 24 or 48 hours going,
I love pit bulls.
Pit bulls are sweet.
Really
we just watched a sweet video about pit
bulls. Oh, my
bulls,
gosh, of this female pit bull that was helping all these little adoptive kittens. Anyway, yeah. So, it's the kind of thing we watch when we need something that's not political.
Anyway, he throws the meat out there, and these wild dogs just go nuts and, chewing on the meat while he and his team are doing things. Mm-hmm. And I think the UFO thing is something people have talked about for a while. It's like, hey, let's throw this out there. This will chew up maybe a week's worth of news cycles.
And it has been.
So we've got the FBI files talking about Nazi UFOs. FBI files reveal reports of 4-foot-tall beings emerging from UFOs. The craziest headline, UFOs may be searching for the Ark of the Covenant.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
First of all, why would an alien life form even care?
Yeah. Well, because the aliens watched Raiders of the Lost Ark, which they think is the historical documents, and they believe it's a radio
Galaxy Quest
to
reference.
Talk to God. Yeah.
Those poor people.
Yeah. Gilligan's Island.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, those poor people.
I love that movie.
Total distraction while Trump is squeezing the IRGC in Iran.
Yes, and that's another video we watched from the Power Pundit. He was making it clear that one of the distractions was the blockade.
Yeah, the physical blockade.
The physical blockade with our ships. And then when Trump said, okay, epic fury is done, or, the blockade is, we're going to stop doing these things because Saudi Arabia told him to. Yeah,
that was the, freedom, whatever basically we're going to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz.
That's right. Yeah, well, suddenly Mohammed bin Salman said, you have to stop that. So the cycles were just, he's been told off. Trump has been...
Yeah. They've denied access to American bases because the Saudis, they don't want...
Well, when in fact, the real job of dismantling Iran was taking place.
Yeah, and that is quietly behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent has been identifying the shadow banking network that the Iranians have been using the Iranian regime has been using. I don't want to confuse the Iranian people.
Oh, no.
With
we'll just
their
call
government.
them the Persian people.
Yeah. So the IRGC has been using this shadow banking system. Businesses set up in places like, the various places around the world where you can set up a business where you don't want to pay taxes.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
As long as it doesn't operate like a bank. Okay, it's just, this is just an investment company. And then the Chinese, what they call teapot refineries, small refineries, buying the Iranian oil at a discount, would then pay through these so-called investment firms, and that money would make its way back to accounts in Tehran that would then be used to finance, missiles and Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis and so on.
One of the primary actors in this is Mohammed Hossein Shamkhani. Mm-hmm. He's been ID'd by the U.S. Treasury as key figure managing a vast covert shipping empire responsible for transporting Iranian and Russian oil to global buyers. And one of their biggest buyers, of course, is China. Mm-hmm. As the son of Ali Shamkhani, a top advisor to Iran's supreme leader, he was sanctioned in 2025 and again in 2026 for operating a network using front companies and deceptive shipping practices to generate billions in revenue. This shadow banking is what really finances the missile production.
Right. And by squeezing that, by identifying these companies and this particular gentleman, mm-hmm. and his name again is? Shamkhani. They have lost the money spigot's been turned off. Mm-hmm. So no oil is making its way through the Strait of Hormuz. And bear in mind, Iran sends about 80% of its oil to China. China gets about 15 to 20% of its oil imports, I should say, mm-hmm. from Iran, and probably another 5% or so from Venezuela. So the United States, by controlling Venezuelan oil and shutting off the Strait of Hormuz, shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, has cut off about 20% of, anywhere from 15 to 20% of China's crude oil imports. So you've got China in a world of hurt because of that, because China needs that oil for its industrial output. These mm-hmm. teapot refineries, these small refineries that operate sort of off the books, are now looking at the U.S. Treasury and realizing that if they buy any of this oil, they themselves will be subject to sanctions. This is the benefit to the United States of having the world's de facto reserve currency. The United States dollar is what's used to settle most.
Yeah, it's the petrodollar. Everything is
transactions.
Yeah.
Now, the government of Iran has been accepting payment in cryptocurrency, but the Treasury has also now been freezing Iranian crypto, and it makes it very difficult for them to process any sales. So you got this attack happening on two fronts, this squeeze on two fronts. It's basically the two sides of the vice. You've got the physical blockade enforced by the U.S. Navy, and in fact, the media picked up on this. There were a couple of Iranian tankers that tried to run the Strait of Hormuz toward Karg Island. These are empty tankers that were looking to, fuel up. Mm-hmm. And an F-18 launched from the George H.W. Bush mm-hmm. aircraft carrier, yep. Launched precision munitions into the smokestacks of those two tankers, which basically disabled them. And so they are now kind of helpless and floating out there in the somewhere in the Gulf of Oman. While this is, and then the other side of this, of course, is the financial squeeze being applied by the United States Treasury, which the media hasn't reported on at all. And again, credit to Jesus Enrique Rosas for this analysis. He's very insightful. Brilliant guy, because he's doing so many things. His commentary, he's very funny in his commentary on politics and the British royals, especially, the Harkles, Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, he does go after them a lot, and rightly so.
Yeah.
He also has a channel called The Crime Coroner, and I really love it. He takes old crimes and he unpacks them, much like Paul Brody does on Well, I Never. I love that show too. By the way, speaking of China and the fact that they buy so much oil, or mm-hmm. used to, not only from Venezuela, which is where Rosas is from originally. Trump will be visiting China this week.
That's correct, yes.
And I think that's well-timed, and I think President Trump has been doing all of these things, prepping for this visit with President Xi.
Right. And here's something else, and I talked about this on a live that I did on on Facebook earlier this week. Probably should have put it up as a view from the bunker. Oh,
yeah, I just wanted to add, wasn't quite done, but I just wanted to add before I forget that story this morning, the U.S. has sanctioned 9 mainland China and Hong Kong companies because they're helping Iran's military.
Okay, all right. So
So
again,
this comes ahead of his visit. He's doing all of these things ahead of this visit, switching off the spigot to the point where Iran has to dump a whole bunch of oil.
Yeah.
There's a 17 square mile oil slick.
Yeah. That is developed off of Kharg Island. It's visible from space. It is very likely, although we don't know this for a fact, but it's very likely that the Iranians have just now been forced to just start dumping oil into the Gulf, and Persian Gulf, Arabian Gulf, depends on who you prefer. This is because they've run out of storage tanks on Kharg Island.
That's what those empty tankers were hoping to do.
Right, give them a little more storage space. They have no more because there's no oil shipping. But the problem is they can't stop pumping because the physics underground would ruin the pumps. If they stopped pumping, the areas that they're pumping from below ground would, basically fill up and crush the well, the pump.
And then they'd have to re-drill it.
They'd have to re-drill it, right. And that's a long and expensive process. So rather than that, they are hoping to buy time, which they were doing by trying to fill up empty tankers. There was a rusting tanker that was not seaworthy. They towed it to Kharg Island and they filled that up with I don't know how many barrels of oil you can fit into one of these very large.
Leaky little tanker.
Yeah. So they filled that up. There was a report that I never saw confirmed, but there was a report that some of the wells were actually flaring the oil. They were burning it as they pumped it up.
Oh.
Normally you'll see that with natural gas pumps where they will flare excess gas at the top of the pump. And it burns clean because natural gas is a fairly clean burning hydrocarbon. But when you burn oil, you get, black smoke. It's,
I used to see that at the refinery in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
They would sometimes flare off.
So this 17 square mile oil slick, which is probably bigger by the time you hear this, is a desperation move by the Iranians because they don't have anywhere to go. They don't want to shut down the wells because if they do that, again, the source of their income, which they're hoping to be able to start selling again soon if they can reach a deal. And that's what Trump is for. He's backed them into a corner. The Iranians were using the Strait of Hormuz and their control over it, they said, as a threat. We're going to close this down and 20% of the world's oil flows through here and you don't want that. And Trump's like, okay, let's play that game. We'll shut down the Strait of Hormuz because you need to ship your oil more than the world needs your oil, except for China, of course, which is we're okay with squeezing China too.
Well, exactly, because they were using it as a toll booth previously.
Yeah. If you want to pass through, you pay $200 to more like $20 million.
Didn't you tell me earlier this morning, though, and I don't exactly know when this happened, you said that previously Iran had spilled the oil and then they set it on fire.
Iraq did that during the 1993 Gulf War.
Iraq, that's right.
Iraq did that, and it was to create this massive ecological disaster. And there's an analysis account on X called More Edge Insight. And that account, whoever operates it, posted a short essay on what Iran might do if it gets truly desperate. And it's about at that point. And it's based on the recognition that the IRGC...
More Edge, M-O-R-E?
No, just M-O-R.
Okay.
That the IRGC, the true believers in
I'm already following it.
Allah and their conviction based on the teachings of Ayatollah Khomeini, who led the Islamic Revolution in 1979, that they would rather die than surrender. And if they're going to go down, they're going to take everything with them, that they might pump oil into the Gulf and then set it on fire. That slick and it currently is drifting towards the Saudi shore, which is on the west side of the Gulf, but it would also flow, outwards down, I'm going to say downstream, but it would flow towards the U.S. Navy vessels that are blockading the Gulf, but also all those other ships that are stranded in there. Was I read this morning, some 20,000 crew on these vessels that are stranded in the Gulf.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people, and they're eating up their supplies that are on board. I mean, you have to. You can't run out to, In-N-Out Burger or whatever when you're on one of those ships. All
can't?
the food
you can't order in. Uber won't fly over there.
DoorDash will not deliver to a tanker in the middle of the Gulf of Arabia.
There's no tanker dash, I guess.
So yeah, they are in some cases running out of supplies, and that's why Trump announced his Operation Protective Edge or Freedom or whatever it was, that to escort ships out. And it's, again, you've got the Arab nations on the west side of the Gulf, Saudi Arabia, the UAE mainly, that are looking at this as an opportunity to finally get rid of the Shia government, the Shia regime in Tehran, and they want them crushed. So they're rooting for Trump and what Trump is doing. The UAE in particular, extremely angry. In fact, declared war on Iran this week and launched airstrikes against Tehran because of the missiles that Tehran keeps lobbing at Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And their facility that is on the outside edge of the Strait of Hormuz, because the UAE straddles that point where that choke point. They've got a pipeline that is now pumping about 1.5 million barrels per day to, and I'm forgetting the name of the port there.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Yeah, it starts with letter K, but it is south of the Strait of Hormuz, which means the Iranians don't have any control over it. It's in the Gulf of Oman. Meanwhile, the Saudis have reopened an east-west pipeline from its main oil fields on the eastern side of Arabia to a port on the Red Sea, which, of course, means that its oil does not have to sail through the Strait of Hormuz either. The UAE this past week.
Fujairah,
okay, wasn't letter K at all.
Not even a K
not
in there
even
anywhere.
Close.
No.
But Fujairah, they've launched. Iran has attacked the port there at Fujairah to try to eliminate that as an option for the Emirates. But the UAE, United Arab Emirates, this week also announced it was leaving OPEC. It is done with the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries.
Well, that's true, but we also saw just days later that Iran redrew the map. Put little lines showing now this part of the water is ours, and it goes all the way to that little port on the UAE.
It's like those are our waters right up to the very coastline of the UAE.
Yeah,
and the Emiratis are like, oh, really? Now
I know. Well, Tasnim news agency claimed the UAE attacked Qassim Island. All right. But they didn't.
No, actually, it was the United States. After Iran this week launched some missiles at American destroyers that were transiting the strait. Nothing hit, but the U.S. responded by hitting that island, Qassim Island.
Forgive me if you were saying this because I was trying to find a couple of other things and a lizard while you were speaking. No, I was trying to listen, but you may have said it, and I apologize if you did. But the UAE is mass deporting Pakistanis.
They are.
Yes. New York Times reports reveal the UAE is mass deporting thousands of Pakistani workers, specifically targeting the Shia community.
Oh,
This
okay.
purge follows Islamabad's mediation in the U.S.-Iran peace talks a move that reportedly shocked Abu Dhabi. And the laborers are paying the price for high-level geopolitics with frozen assets and lost livelihoods. Now, this might be a surprise to you, but I remember you told me yesterday or the day before that a large percentage of the population are Pakistani workers.
Indian workers. The tech sector in the UAE is Indian.
This is Pakistani.
Yeah, I know. Those are laborers. But
it says workers.
Yeah, I know. But the UAE has a burgeoning
the tech
sector. Yeah, because they began investing in artificial intelligence 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And the infrastructure for the data centers, obviously they've got a lot of energy resources in terms of oil and natural gas, but they're also investing in nuclear power and building huge data centers. But yeah, I read that 38% of the population of the UAE is Indian, but it's because they are tech workers for the AI. Now, the Pakistanis, maybe the laborers that are actually pouring concrete and stuff.
Well, I don't know. They're definitely workers of some kind, and the Pakistanis and the Indians do not get along.
No, they don't.
At all.
I was not aware that that there was any substantial Shia population in Pakistan. And maybe I just have never
I wasn't aware they are Muslim.
I thought they were Sunni.
Well,
but
apparently
I could
these
be
are
wrong.
Shia.
Well, clearly the UAE
So they would side with Iran.
They would, yes. Except that Pakistan and Iran were lobbing missiles at each other last fall.
I know. And Pakistan has been the one mediating this whole peace treaty. And I put peace treaty in air quotes because I honestly think this is yet another of President Trump's many sleight of hand moves.
Right. And when they don't yield any fruit, of course, the media will say, oh, Trump's peace negotiations have failed. No, Trump is just stringing things out because it's like that song, Time
oh, gosh.
is on my side.
I'm sorry, I can't hear that song without thinking of the movie Fallen.
The movie Fallen, right. That's what brought it to mind, actually. But Trump holds all the cards here because he's got the military leverage, he's got economic leverage, and he's actually got diplomatic leverage now because Iran has managed to anger all of the other Muslims in the area, except maybe Pakistan.
Even Syria is siding with the UAE and others. Now, Syria is primarily Sunni at this point, I think.
It is. It's Sunni majority, which is why they had that long civil war. You had the Sunni rebels who were trying to overthrow the Alawite Shia regime of Bashar al-Assad. Who's
hiding out in Russia somewhere.
Right, yeah. And who's had a couple of mystery illnesses that may have been poisoning attempts. So Trump is squeezing the IRGC because they won't go down without a fight. You've got some moderates in the government there. They're like, hey, we want to eat, and the people want to eat, and if they don't eat, they're going to start rising up with torches and pitchforks. The IRGC, again, these are hardcore, true believers who think that the moment they pass from this earth, they're going to get 72 virgins who will, well, let's just say the Muslim idea of paradise is sort of like a cosmic brothel.
Yeah.
It is a male-centric fantasy of eternal carnal delights. It is the absolute opposite of what the Christian idea of the afterlife is like.
Exactly.
Where we are in direct communion with our Lord, the creator of the universe.
Amen.
And all of these fleshly desires and delights in this world that tempt us, we will no longer desire those things. But in Islam, that's what heaven is all about. And women, they're just there to, please men. Anyway, that's a whole nother.
Please men and have babies.
So anyway, the IRGC, they're going to hang on forever. Watch to see what happens. If I would not be shocked to see a news report here in the next few days that 17-mile oil slick has suddenly started to burn. Now
I'm sorry. I was just going to say this is the story if you don't follow us on X, you're missing out on a whole lot of news articles that we talk about on PID Radio. This one I shared, it was one of the first things I shared this morning. Just in,
Oh.
This came from the BRICS news account, which
Okay.
always gives you the Brazil,
Russia, India.
BRICS. It's almost like watching, the Moscow TASS or something like that.
It's like the anti-G7.
It is. Well, I was going to say the news account, though. It gives me an idea of what BRICS wants us to think.
Yeah.
Because it's in English. So, just in, Iranian official says Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei was thrown off the stairs. He suffered back injuries during the U.S. strike, but he's now in, quote, perfect health, unquote.
Which is why
Cardboard Ayatollah
the cardboard
is
Ayatollah
just fine.
Yeah, that's why he hasn't been seen. And the cardboard Ayatollah, if you didn't see that within the first couple of days after this war began on February 28th, they had a rally in Tehran where the IRGC took a photo of the face of Ayatollah Khamenei, and this is his son, actually, Mojtaba Khamenei, because after it was confirmed that Ayatollah Khamenei had been killed, Mojtaba, his successor, and I thought at first it was a parody.
So did I.
Because they had a cardboard cutout, outline of a man, and they just stuck his face on top.
Yes.
It's like, what?
See, he's fine.
Look, everybody cheer. Here's Mojtaba.
It's almost South Park.
Yes. It was I thought, come on, this is the Babylon Bee. But no, it's legit. Now, sadly for Mojtaba Khamenei, the reports that I've seen indicate that he was badly injured in the strike, badly burned.
Probably fell down the stairs because he forgot, as you said earlier, he lost a leg.
Yeah, he's had a leg amputated, reportedly.
I don't wish that on anybody.
No.
The Baghdad Bob version of the news over there.
Yeah. Oh, he's perfectly fine.
Tehran, Tom. No, I don't like, no. Tom, I can't use Tom.
No.
Tehran Terry.
There you go. The only indication, well, there have been claims that he's issued statements, but it's the IRGC really running Iran right now.
Of course it is, yeah.
Mojtaba Khamenei is, according to reports, again, can't confirm, he is in no condition to be running anything. The last report I saw on him a couple of weeks ago was that he was still not aware that his family had been...
This was my response to the story.
Yeah, that his family had been killed in those attacks. So it's terrible to be him, but sadly, he's been responsible because he was reportedly the one who was directing the IRGC for his father, responsible for the deaths of many people, up to as many as 90,000, according to some reports, as the regime tried to put down the protests back in January and February. I wanted to come back to China and the impact here on China, because, again, Trump is playing a game here that the media is not giving him credit for.
Especially since he started with Venezuela.
Right. He started with Venezuela. And this was not connected to all of this, and yet it is connected. Mm-hmm. Venezuela sold about anywhere from half to three-quarters of its oil, according to reports, and to China. China was the dominant buyer for both Iranian and Venezuelan oil because they were sanctioned. They were supporters of terrorism. Iran with Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, Venezuela with groups like Tren de Aragua showing up here in cities in the United States and taking over entire apartment blocks. Aurora, Colorado, the most prominent example. So by taking control of this oil or blocking it from shipping, China is suddenly without anywhere from 15 to 25% of its crude oil imports. There's another strait that is even more of a choke point than the Strait of Hormuz, and that is the Strait of Malacca.
Oh, yeah.
The Strait of Malacca is the waterway that runs between Thailand and Singapore on the east and Indonesia on the west. Now, last month, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth hosted Indonesia's Minister of Defense at the Pentagon, and they signed a cooperative defense agreement. Why does this matter? Well, Indonesia, even though it's closer to China, and so it's very aware of the fact that China's able to project power into that region, maybe a little more easily than the U.S. Navy and Air Force, but they're Muslims. Indonesia is the world's most populous Muslim nation. China has not treated the Muslims in Xinjiang province, the Uyghurs, very well. Now, even though they're Turkic, not Asian like Indonesians.
Allegedly, Trump is supposed to bring that up with Xi.
Yeah. The Indonesians, so not really friendly with China, and certainly Thailand and Singapore. Singapore, because many of them are ethnic Han Chinese, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, the Thai and the Singaporeans, not really friendly towards China. They are strong U.S. allies. The Indonesians now, with the defense agreement, allowing the United States perhaps overflight rights, the U.S. Air Force overflight rights over the Strait of Malacca. 80% of China's energy imports sail through the Strait of Malacca. So again, China gets anywhere from 15 to 25% of its oil from Iran and Venezuela, or it did until the U.S. shut those down, because now Venezuelan oil is under our control.
I had to look this up because I was pretty sure that I was right. 90% of China's citizens are Han.
Yeah.
So can you repeat again what you said about the Han Chinese?
I thought the Singaporeans were Han, but maybe they're Malay.
They might be. What I didn't realize is that the Han Chinese make up their population exceeds 1.4 billion. It's roughly 17% of the global population.
Right, but it is shrinking at a rate that by the end of this century, they're supposed to be down to about 800 million.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Poor thing. That is a big change.
Yeah, they are like, because the one-child policy that they had for so long has been ingrained now into younger generations of Chinese, that they're having one child, one kid, and it is leading to a demographic crisis.
It's self-limiting.
Yeah, like the rest of the Northern Hemisphere, basically, except in China, it's even more exacerbated. So it's estimated by the United Nations, by the end of this century, China's population will have shrunk to under 1 billion, perhaps as low as 800,000, 800 million, excuse me.
You know, it's
and I was right, by the way. Singapore is primarily Chinese, about 75%, and about 15% Malay. And but Singapore wants to be independent, like Hong Kong wanted to stay independent, and so they are very much opposed to China projecting its influence to Singapore. Singapore's become a very prosperous city, very crowded, but very prosperous. But anyway, they are close U.S. allies, like the Thais, and now with Indonesia drawing closer to the United States on the west side of the Strait of Malacca. And again, 80% of China's energy imports flow through that strait.
Choke point.
So and this is something I've talked to Colonel Bob McGinnis about, he thinks China would make a move to try to retake Taiwan within the next 2 years.
Oh.
But if they do that, now that the United States has allies on both sides of the Strait of Malacca, President Xi of China has to take into account that the United States may just have the ability to close off the Strait of Malacca to shipping, which would then shut down 80% of China's energy imports, which would be crippling for China's industrial output.
Yeah, I'm looking up Strait of Malacca on the news aspect of Google. Just happen to be using that. Yeah, there are a lot of stories within the last 24 hours about that strait. Right.
So that is something, again, that is not getting talked about by the corporate media so much. But if you look it up on your own, do your own research on the web, you can find those stories.
It is Malacca, in case you're wondering how you spell it.
Right. So that is a big deal. President Xi now has to consider U.S. influence over that strait, as well as the fact that the U.S. now controls the Strait of Hormuz and has control of Venezuelan oil. Now, Venezuela is able to sell its oil, and there are oil companies like Chevron, and Exxon, which had their ExxonMobil actually, which had their assets nationalized under Chavez and Maduro, going back in and beginning to reinvest there. Now it'll take years to boost output, but bear in mind, Venezuela, not Saudi Arabia, not the United States, not Russia, Venezuela has the world's largest proven reserves of oil by far.
Another thing about Venezuela, but also about Cuba, they're both primarily Catholic countries. If there's a religion, there are lots of pagan religions, and then there's no religion. I mean, there are a lot of, frankly, socialists in both countries, and so many of those don't claim any religion at all. They may ostensibly be Catholics, but not really, practicing. The Pope was just visited by Marco Rubio. Yeah. Pope Leo, who is from Chicago. He came out this morning and told the press that, he has no interest in coming to the United States ever until President Trump is gone. Well, if Marco Rubio becomes the next president, what's he going to say? Yeah. Well, if it's a Catholic president, he may change his mind, even if it's Marco Rubio. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Or if it's J.D. Vance either.
My comment on the whole thing was, he's a White Sox fan. Yeah. He does not like the fact that the Cubs are winning so much.
Yeah, the Cubs won again. They've had now 2 10-game winning streaks. Ooh. First time they've done that in the same season, I think, since 1935 or something crazy.
Go Cubs, go!
So White Sox are actually doing much better this year. They signed a Japanese free agent, Murakami, who's actually tied for the major league lead in home runs. So
is he? Well, good for him.
Yeah, so good to see the White Sox improving, because they were historically bad the last couple seasons, but the Cubs doing well. Here's the thing that again, the media is not giving Trump credit for. They're focusing on the fact that gasoline is $5 a gallon. Here in the Ozarks, it just now hitting $4. But so you're welcome to visit, but don't buy land here.
Do buy land here.
Yeah, this is a good place to retire. Actually, we love the Ozarks.
It is. The taxes are low. You can buy land for a relatively inexpensive price. Yes, a lot of the land is not technically arable. In other words, you have to have raised beds, but you can raise cattle here and you can raise kids here.
Yeah, and good people. Good people.
Very.
Anyway, what the media is not pointing out is that China, because it's lost access to Venezuelan oil, which is on the market, is now just being sold at fair market value, not at the deep discounts that the Chinese were getting previously, and Iranian oil. They're having to come to the United States to buy oil.
I know the U.S. is the big oil place, best in the world.
We are now producing more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia combined. And this is not something the media wants to talk about, because Trump might get credit for that. Tracking data for oil tankers showed that about 600,000 barrels per day of American crude oil was being loaded out for China during the month of April. That's equivalent to about 18 million barrels per month, which is worth about $10 billion with a B, billion dollars. That is per month, and that is heading to China. That is Chinese money that is flowing back into the United States.
Exactly.
Now, this is still only about a third of what China buys from Russia. I looked it up. China's buying almost 2 million barrels per day of oil from the Russians. But that 600,000 barrels per day is a lot more than China was buying a year ago. So year over year, this is a huge increase. And here's the other thing. This adds a third choke point, because the government of Panama has come out and said that the Chinese facilities on either end of the Panama Canal will not be allowed to exercise any influence on what goes through the canal. China had been trying to make inroads into Latin America and South America. Trump has been working to reverse that, and the Panamanian government has come out and said that they're in agreement with President Trump here, and that Panama's sovereignty will not be dictated by the Chinese. So this oil, they have to pick it up in the Gulf of America.
Yes.
And then it has to sail back towards China through the Panama Canal, which is now controlled by an American-friendly government.
Let us not forget, it was President Carter
Yes.
who sort of ended the U.S. lease on the Panama Canal that we helped to build.
The 99-year lease.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then it was essentially given over to China.
Yeah.
However, that agreement said that if Panama ever encountered trouble that required military intervention, the U.S. had to come in and help.
Right, right.
So we've been the protector for China's business
Assets,
there.
Right. Well, again, the Panamanian government has signaled that it is more aligned now with the United States than with China, which makes sense because we're a lot closer to Panama than China is.
We are indeed.
So China now has to deal with 3 choke points: the Panama Canal, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Strait of Malacca, all of which are either under the control of or at least influenced by the United States. President Trump, whether you like him or not, has executed a political jiu-jitsu move.
Mm-hmm. The art of the deal.
The art of the deal. Even his critics have been quoted in mainstream news articles like Axios, Politico, as saying he's done things we never thought could be done regarding like the Abraham Accords and so forth. I would add this to the list. What he has done with Iran and with Venezuela, which is connected to the Iranian thing.
And with Cuba.
And with Cuba, when whatever may be coming with Cuba, yeah. It will be very interesting to see what comes out of the meetings between Trump and Xi this coming week, because President Trump is going to go into that meeting. It's like, so, how you like me now?
Exactly. By the way, speaking of people not liking Trump, Keir Starmer, don't think his party did very well in the May 7 elections, but he has been on record. He's still prime minister for the moment. If you're listening to this in the archives, well, he probably isn't, but he is prime minister today, and he does not like President Trump, and so that special relationship had been broken. And the recent visit by His Majesty King Charles of the United Kingdom, that did a lot to put a Band-Aid on that wound. It did a lot to soothe things. Well, here's a thing that should also soothe the Brits. Shell, which is a partly British-owned company. It used to be called Royal Dutch Shell.
Yeah.
Shell reports nearly $7 billion profit after oil prices surged because of the U.S.-Iran war. So Keir Starmer, who said, no, we're not part of this, his country's leaders, the businessmen, are benefiting from this. So who's underwriting your campaigns, Sir Keir? And is it anyone who is a big executive with Shell?
Good question. And are they happy with their investment right now, since they just lost over 1,000 seats in the council elections?
Councils, and that's a big, big thing, because the councils run the cities.
Right. They control transportation, and
they pick up the garbage, usually.
Yes. And who knows now with Reform UK holding
a lot of
I think the largest number of seats in Birmingham. I don't think they've got a majority, but at last I checked, they were close to it.
Maybe Birmingham will finally get the trash picked up, because it has not been picked up in months, according to reports that I follow. And Birmingham is allegedly, I have to say, holding the Invictus Games, which is a big international warrior games. We have the warrior games over here in the U.S. It's for those who have been injured in service of their country. And these the amazing wheelchairs, sometimes nothing. And these former soldiers who have been wounded and survived, they compete against one another. It is really incredible. And I would love if the Invictus Games could actually be about soldiers.
Yeah, instead of The Harkles.
Yeah, exactly. Those two. Yeah. But anyway, it is supposed to be going on, but Birmingham has no money, so I don't know how they're going to build any of the facilities.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how these results impact Keir Starmer, who has said, I am not going to resign and plunge the country into chaos.
He'll probably just leave and go somewhere. I mean, I call him Never Hear Starmer, Never Hear Keir. Yeah, or Two Beers Keir, one of those. Or Two-Tier Keir. He's called a lot of names by the Brits because they don't like him. No,
he is very unpopular. Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, is flying high right now. And if they can sustain this momentum into the next elections, the Conservative Party, the Tories, basically they were a distant third in the council elections. The Greens did a little better. Lib Dems, actually the Conservative Party, the Tories, were fourth because the Lib Dems did better.
That's unusual. Yeah. Now, the Green Party, that's a concern because, many of those I think they were elected because of what's called family voting.
Yeah.
So that's where you get to walk in wearing head-to-toe black veil and vote probably again and again.
And your whole family
again.
gets to come in because maybe,
you don't know how to read the English.
You don't speak English, right. Yeah, very convenient. But we will, again, keep an eye on the UK because, we love the United Kingdom.
We do. But what happens there, it's like a canary in the coal mine. What happens there will come here.
Absolutely.
And probably is coming here because you told me before we started, and it was about the pool that in Texas that was requiring.
Story out of Texas where a woman organized a Muslim-only day at a water park. And I'm going to see if I can find that story here because it was one of those that you just cannot make up. Where was it?
Grand Prairie Water Park has been canceled.
Yes, that's it. And the woman who organized it has a PhD or an education D, an EDD. So she's got a doctorate in education, but her
allegedly.
CV indicates that she is she operates an early Leering center. So we have another Leering center. There we go, found it.
Dr. Amima Knight.
Yes,
that her name?
that is correct. The Excellence Early Leering Center. And
okay.
Yeah.
Do they have that patented, trademarked?
Well,
Leering Center?
It said Leering Center on one of her websites, and then on her CV on the website, about Dr. Knight, the Excellence Early Leaning Center. So she's got a doctorate in education.
And yet can't spell learning?
Yes, this is the Educational Center in Hurst, Texas, the Excellence Early Leering or Leaning Center. But she had organized an exclusively Muslim event at a water park, an indoor water park, that was funded by a local sales tax increase implemented back 12 years ago.
Were they going to
So in other words, it's publicly funded, and they were going to exclude anybody who wasn't Muslim.
Dressed in a what is it they call them, a burkini?
I don't know what you call it.
The Muslim version of a swimsuit?
I don't know, but... So the locals who were paying for the park would have been excluded from the park that day. Can you imagine a publicly funded water park or any kind of a park saying, okay, today we're going to have a Christian-only event or a Jewish-only event or a Hindu-only event.
Or, hey, whites only.
Whites only. Yeah. Wouldn't.
Or Melungians only.
Wouldn't happen.
That'd be two of us.
So anyway, that has been shut down. Governor Greg Abbott in Texas called attention to this, and so the park has said, okay, I guess we can't do it. But again, it came out that this woman with a doctorate from Vanderbilt, which is a good school, apparently hired somebody to set up her website, doesn't know how to spell learning. It's Leering.
Yeah.
I want to circle... go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just still... Leering and Leaning. I mean, that's an impressive school, and that's why I would like to see the the receipts for her education?
Right, yeah. Because, again, Vandy is a good school.
Mm-hmm. I have no doubt that she could get in, but did you actually finish? Anyway,
call her skeptical again.
Yeah.
Wanted to circle back just to, because we're running a little bit long on time here.
No.
Wanted to circle back just for a few minutes on the UFO subject, because one of the reasons it went so viral this past week was because of a couple of events where Christian pastors, evangelists, were invited to meetings that were held, and it was made public because Perry Stone, who's pretty well known.
Yep, he's a good man.
Good man. Perry Stone talked about it on a video that he released earlier this week. And so that went public, and a lot of people mischaracterized what he said. And then there were others who were parts of these meetings who then came out and released their own videos. Pastor Larry Ragland was in one of the meetings, and he described, he mentioned a phone call that came in from our congressional representative here in Missouri, Southwest Missouri, Representative Eric Burleson, who covers the area that stretches from Springfield down to Joplin.
Right.
Called in to encourage the pastors that were in the meeting to educate themselves about the UFO, UAP, abductee, contactee phenomena, and to be prepared to, discuss this with congregations. And in his initial video, Larry Ragland misspoke. And then he released a second video to apologize to Representative Burleson, because he made it sound like Congressman Burleson said things that he didn't say.
Right.
And they were actually Larry's opinions of what had been said. So he clarified that with the second video. But again, people picked up on what Larry Ragland said and said, oh, see, the government is warning people to, warning pastors that there's a great deception coming. And that's not what Representative Burleson said. Congressman Burleson also put out on social media, no, here's actually what I said.
Right.
Our friend Jamie Walden was part of one of these meetings. Our friend Alan DiDio was in the meeting.
I'm surprised Tim wasn't in on it.
He may have been, because I saw Tim actually posted a clarification also to X about what was discussed in the meetings. I watched a video that was released by Prophecy Watchers this week, where Mondo Gonzalez talked with Alan DiDio about the meetings and what had been said. And to Perry Stone, by the way, he did not sensationalize it.
No, not at all.
I watched a response video that Joel Richardson had put out, and he said that, Perry was cautious about what he said. There are those who took it and ran with it and mischaracterized it, because anytime you talk about this, UFOs, pastors.
There are certain news outlets that really love to make actual Christian pastors look ridiculous.
Exactly. Oh, they're afraid reptilians are going to take over the world. It's like, no. But this was an independent UFO research organization. It was not a government that held these meetings. And what was done was what was given was a presentation. Alan said that it was a slide deck, like a PowerPoint presentation. Here are the various theories about what these UFOs are and what aliens are and the contactee, abductee thing, what's behind all of that. And this was a briefing given to Christian pastors, evangelists, teachers, so that they could be informed, because frankly, a lot of Christian pastors don't spend any time on this subject at all because it's considered fringe or woo. And it is something that will impact people if, these sensational claims come out in the media, as we saw this week. Nazi UFOs, they're searching for the Ark of the Covenant.
But I think pastors need to understand that all questions are welcome, and all questions can be answered from the Bible.
Exactly. And there are those like, the late Chuck Missler. L.A. Marzulli's been out there talking about this for more than 25 years. We've been writing and talking about this for more than a decade. And that's why I, again, reposted that video that I did from 2022 to our social media accounts. You can find it on my Facebook page, also the Gilbert House Ministries Facebook page. Or I should put it on our Substack account as well.
Well, I started writing about it in 2002 with Winds of Evil. I mean, that's really where that's going. Yes, because you had crop circles in Winds of Evil back then. So one of the reasons that the initial publisher got a little skittish. A little scared of what I was writing. I don't know. Crop circles in here. Problem? It is something that we need to be able to address. And it went viral this week, even though these meetings took place 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. According to Alan, these meetings took place a couple of months ago. It's because Perry Stone came out and talked about it. And suddenly now Glenn Beck talked about it on his program this week. Yeah. And Glenn was like, so wait, what? And he was kind of using it as comic fodder, even though he shouldn't, because he's had Tim Alberino on his program here recently. He really should not. Glenn, no, I'm sorry. This is all connected. Yeah. You want to talk about demons being, the spirits of the giants destroyed in the flood, which he did with Tim. I know. Hey, this is just another facet of that deception. So when this stuff comes out and you start seeing these stories, just bear in mind the media is going to twist it. Those who don't and there are those within the church who will look at this and say, oh, this is fringe. This is you shouldn't be talking about this. This is, as L.A. Marzulli said, a cosmic deception. Mm-hmm. It could be the great deception. Lying Signs and Wonders. Lying Signs and Wonders. Doug Woodward, has written a book, Lying Wonders of the Red Planet. Mm-hmm. And again, this is why I co-authored with Donna Howell and Allie Anderson the book Destination Earth, which is just a year and a half old and barely has gotten any traction at all. And you would think that because it's addressing the theological issues, Donna did a wonderful job. Is God an alien? Addressing that issue in there. I focused on the government control of the narrative going back to 1947, even before Roswell, and the theological roots of the ancient aliens idea. It's occult teaching. It's theosophy repackaged. Yes, that's exactly what it is. And it gets into Crowley and into the stories of Lovecraft and even modern stories. There are a lot of films. There are a lot of graphic novels. There are a lot of games that include things like this. And so young people, if they are not told the truth, even young people who go to church, if they don't get an answer to their question about aliens, they will find it elsewhere. Right. Well, we're here. In fact, this week I asked Defender Publishing, God bless Penny, she sent it out right away, send a copy of Destination Earth along with a letter to Congressman Burleson saying, here's our book dealing with the theological issues around this phenomenon. Happy to discuss with you at your convenience. Yes, Congressman, we actually know Tim Alberino really well. We know that you and Tim are friends, so could we talk to you too? Yeah. Anyway, we loved him. And we'd love to make the acquaintance of Congressman Burleson. We would. And just have the discussion with him about this, because there is information there that addresses all of these questions. And we'd be happy to introduce him to other friends who are in this sphere as well, who've got answers like L.A. Marzulli. So anyway, that is the week that was. I'm sure that we're going to have a great title for this week's show. Oh, I'm sure we will. Probably a big clickbaity thing. Of course. By the way, Marzulli has at least 2 novels that I know of where it's that theme, and also Mike Heiser has 2. Right. Mike's The Facade and The Portent, dealing with the UFO phenomenon. He had planned a 3rd, and I don't know if Drina has a full manuscript that she could eventually release. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I do know that Mike was going to incorporate some very interesting research that connected to the black. Oh gosh, what was it? The not the Black Order, but it connected back to Nazi Germany. And, okay. Yeah,
he shared this with me almost 20 years ago, and he said, but don't tell anyone this because this will be in one of my, the next novel.
And now we forgot that we didn't even tell ourselves.
Yeah. It was actually research about scientists had discovered a new shape that absorbed sunlight more efficiently than any other. And they were thinking that this new shape of, small particle that would help develop a new, more efficient type of solar collector for solar energy. And that shape just happens to be the swastika. Little teeny weeny swastikas.
Yes, I've actually seen that story.
It absorbs light. Well, what do you know?
Well, interesting.
Well, I guess since we are the OGs, we should do the OG report.
The old geezer report.
Yeah.
I'm still writing. I've been doing a lot of driving because Derek is, he's been doing a lot of doctoring.
Yeah.
He's adding yet more doctors to his doctor punch card. And not one of the doctors has punched him back yet, but
no.
They've all been very nice to him, actually. And you may have seen that Derek went to see a hematologist/oncologist. Don't panic. It was because of a certain protein that was showing up in your bloodstream.
Right.
And, actually, I think it was what was it? It was the
IgA lambda?
Yeah, IgA lambda. Thank you very much. Light chain.
Yeah.
And it's a certain type of B cell, I think, but it's part of the immune system that is made in the bone marrow, and it was showing up in numbers that indicated perhaps a question mark.
Yeah.
So just to be on the safe side, Derek's a neurologist, I think, is the one who ordered the test. Sent you to the specialist who took a look at you and said, well, probably nothing, but let's do another blood test, which they did to refine the answer. And now you're going to go back and have a couple more tests. But other than that, he's not saying, oh, panic.
No, he said that one of the tests will be a bone marrow biopsy. So
just to
that'll be
rule
a new
out.
adventure.
Yeah,
but
you did okay with the
spinal tap.
Yeah.
So unless that reveals something, and he said, unless it shows something that I don't expect to see,
right,
there should be no reason to be overly concerned.
Right.
And as we said last week when we talked about this, there are basically three things that this particular protein might reveal. One of them is MGUS, which is monogammopathy of unknown source, which basically means we don't know why your bone marrow is producing this misfolded protein.
Right.
But he said it's at such a low level that it probably is not the cause of my neurological symptoms, which is why the neurologist sent me out for the test, because it's possible when this protein is present in large enough quantity that it begins clumping along organs or nerves, and that can result in the symptoms that I'm displaying.
Exactly. There have been studies taking a look at individuals diagnosed with CIDP, which is what Derek's diagnosis is, and the differential diagnoses based on other possibilities, and sometimes it was that, or it was bone marrow issues. So I think this was just, this is a sign that you've got a really good set of doctors.
Yeah. In fact, the hematologist was more concerned that I'm on testosterone than with the IgA lambda in my blood.
I beg to differ with your primary care physician.
Yeah.
Derek's PCP is a wonderful gentleman who reads the literature and has noted that studies indicate that testosterone regrows myelin.
Yeah.
So at the very least, I think it's slowing it down.
I agree, because that's what my immune system is attacking, the myelin around my nerves, which is causing my nerves to short out, which is why
they don't work right.
My feet are about 80% numb and paralyzed, and now my fingertips feel about 50% numb.
Hey, sweetie, you still get around though.
Still getting around, and again, the testosterone has helped that because it's helped with muscle mass, and so I can use my cane more effectively. A year ago, before I started on this, say March, April, I was getting really weak. I mean, getting up the steps, we just have 4 steps from our garage to the back door. And that was getting really difficult for me.
I know.
So, I mean, to the point where we're like, okay, what do we do? Do I walk around to the front of the house where there's only like 2 steps? Do we invest in a chair lift, or do we just move?
Just get a hover chair.
Hover chair.
I'm working on it.
So anyway, but thankfully that has helped quite a bit. And so that's the OG report for this week. We'll know more when we get more test results in. But
let me just throw this tease in there, though, for listeners. Derek is working on a report that he will be able to do from the recliner where he sits,
yes,
the big red chair. It's sort of a maroon color red. It's a really beautiful chair that we got for next to nothing because it was in a used goods store here in Crane, Missouri.
Yeah.
Who knew? And wasn't it John Anderson who helped you to move it?
Carl.
Oh, okay. So anyway.
No. It was Wes Fall. Wes Fall brought his truck.
He brought it here.
Yeah.
It was originally over at Skywatch TV in my office.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Wes brought it over here.
He did, because frankly, the chair's too big for me. I feel like Edith Ann sitting in that chair.
And it was too big for our vehicles, too. So we needed somebody with a truck.
And somebody strong. So it just fits you. And the Lord knew you'd need the chair, so it's been there all along. So Big Red Chair is there for you. Derek is able to relax and be in comfort and be safe and use his brain.
Yeah, and from here we will be doing an upcoming report called 5 Things. And
or something like that.
Something like that, but that's kind of the idea.
It won't necessarily be news, but...
No, I think it's I think I like the idea of focusing on the things that we research. 5 things. It'll be 5 things you need to know about Satan. 5 things you need to know about the Rephaim. 5 things you need to know about Mount Hermon. Things like that.
Yeah, or aliens.
Or aliens. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. So generically, 5 things. And I've already got a couple of dozen ideas for topics, and I'll try to keep them short, 2 to 3 minutes, because I don't want this to take away the time that I need to get the second book, War of the Watchers, done. I'm hoping by the end of this year, so it'll be out probably second half of 2027. War of the Watchers, book 1 will be out in August. It's going to typeset. It went to typesetting this week. And,
will we have that for the conference, do you think?
I'm hoping.
That would be nice.
Yeah, the conferences in July and August. Hopefully, the new book will be available then. If not, it'll be very close, so that pre-orders will be available. But I'm hoping we'll have physical copies for the conferences. I will certainly be talking about material from the book. I might even do, okay, here's my presentation. 5 things you need to know about.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. I like that a lot.
About Israel. Because the 2 books are both about the supernatural war for the land and people of Israel. And we'll be recording programs for Skywatch TV about the book shortly. And those programs will be out come August, I think. We always, when we get into spring, Skywatch TV always records in advance so that there are programs over the summer while Whispering Ponies Ranch is operating, because a lot of the staff then will be, repurposed over there at the ranch. So looking forward to the book being out and being able to then start talking about those subjects, because we feel very strongly that we're getting close to a time when the world unites against Israel, and we see that sentiment rising even in the church. In fact, a friend of ours who is a tour guide in Israel, Messianic Jew, Ron Silberun, will be over here during the month of June. In fact, just a month from now, we'll be speaking at churches in the Ozarks, also in Oklahoma, and is looking for opportunities to speak in Dallas.
Oh, there are lots of churches in Dallas.
Yeah, but a lot of them are very large churches, so getting opportunities to speak in them is difficult. But if you have a congregation and you're interested in hearing from a Messianic Jew, a Christian living in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and what it's like to be a Christian in Israel, not the social media impressions of what it's like to be a Christian in Israel.
Yeah.
Then Ron would be a wonderful guest, and we are actually going to have him on Skywatch TV very thankful. I pitched the idea to Joe Horn, and Joe
he was
said,
absolutely
great,
for it. Yeah.
because Skywatch TV, like us, we're happy to take whatever pushback we get when standing for Israel. So if you're interested, you can find Ron Silberman. That's R-A-N Silberman. He's a correspondent for Joel Rosenberg's All Israel News. You can find him on Facebook, or you can reach out to us, and we can put you in contact with Ron. And he will be here from the first week of June through the month of June. And we'd certainly recommend him. He does a great job for All Israel News. He was a wonderful tour guide, and he's become a very good friend. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow, we will be back with our weekly Bible study, the Gilbert House Fellowship. And in fact, Ron Silberman will be the guest on The View from the Bunker tomorrow night.
Oh, wonderful.
So you can have a chance to see and hear from Ron directly.
I have a question, though. Since we mentioned the Big Red Chair report, will that be available on this channel on YouTube?
Yes, it'll be on YouTube and our Substack account, which we encourage you to, and Sharon's Substack account, of course, where she's releasing the Red Wing saga.
Yep, starting with the
6
book.
chapters of Blood Lies are available right now.
They are. I was going to put out another one this morning, but I neglected to bring out the MacBook. I just brought out my iPad, and I cannot do that with the iPad. I have to have the MacBook.
A little more difficult on the iPad.
It is.
But gilberthouse.substack.com, where we are releasing excerpts from our most recent book, The Gates of Hell, plus all of our other content. And SharonKGilbert.substack.com for excerpts from the Red Wing saga. At some point, maybe I'll start putting out excerpts from my fiction, if anybody cares.
I may start releasing chapters from Winds of Evil, too.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So that is the Laodicea Chronicles series.
It is, and I probably should go through and edit book 2 of that. Jeffrey Martis has already done a cover for it, so I should probably
the title is...
Get that out. Signs and Wonders.
Signs and Wonders. And, of course, you got the Armageddon strain that's in there. And then my novel, The God Conspiracy, which sort of fits in there since I borrowed some of your characters. So,
yeah. Well, we love doing that.
Yeah. We share a brain, which is...
We kind of do. You were born 10 years after, 9.5 or so years after, but yet still we share a brain.
Yeah.
You have to wonder how that works.
So anyway, subscribe there. All of the content is available outside the paywall. Your support, which many people have voluntarily started supporting us through Substack. Substack makes it very easy to do that, but it is not required. The content is all available for free.
Yep.
We do appreciate that. We also have an opportunity, a place at gilberthouse.org if you are so inclined to support us. You can do that there. And again, we truly appreciate that.
And while you're at gilberthouse.org, go to /travel there.
Oh, yes.
And by the way, if you are planning to go to Israel with us in October, we're still going.
Yes.
We haven't changed our dates yet. Now, that's always up for an option because things are they change daily.
Still a little kinetic.
A bit. But we're still planning on going as of now in October. And apparently their registration link has changed slightly. So
I will fix that.
The new one
I will fix that today, yes.
And I think that the price has changed just a little bit just because of inflation.
The cost of jet fuel
exactly.
is spiked. So gilberthouse.org/travel, and we'll have that link updated today, Saturday, May 9th. So, I guess that's it for this week. Just keep an eye on what's happening there in the Gulf, and just remember, things are happening behind the scenes while Trump is throwing out crazy things that drive the media nuts. Actual work is being done behind the scenes in the White House. Yeah, distract him with this, and now we'll go sign some executive orders. It's a beautiful thing to see. Again, even if you don't like him, you got to admit, it's pretty shrewd.
Brilliant, actually.
Yeah, it is. Well, until next time, I'm Derek Gilbert.
I am Sharon Gilbert, and we love you very, very much. Bye-bye, everybody.
VID radio is on the air. Politics, prophecies, and conspiracy. Peering into darkness is what we do. Derek and Sharon